Hi, I'm on a boat. These are my friends. We're talking about stuff. Music is a stuff.
Oh my god, music science man, have you heard Cardi B just said a new thing on social media? Ha ha ha. Okay.
What the hell is a Cardi B? What was that noise you just made?
Music science man, you're so intelligent and have so many friends, how do you not know who Cardi B is?
You do have a point. That is all true. Well, I guess today we're finding out who Cardi B is. But more importantly, what's the appeal? It's science time. What's the appeal? What's the appeal? Lots of people like this. We wanna figure it out. What's the Cardi B was born in 1992 to a Dominican father and a Trinidadian mother. She grew up in the Bronx. This is her real name. I'm scared to butcher it, so I'm not going to try. Her childhood really wasn't an easy one. She lived through divorce, gang affiliation, being kicked out of school, and a lot more. I'm obviously condensing this. She then moved on to working as she calls it, a stripper. She made $300 in her first 8-hour shift. That's a lot of money for any young person who doesn't have a trust fund. Now, before you judge her on that, as a lot of people I'm sure already are,
excuse me?
There is another layer to this. Now, during that time, she was living with her boyfriend and his mother, having been kicked out of her home by her own mother. The relationship was abusive, and she claims that she turned to stripping so that she could gain independence from and leave this relationship. She actually gained traction through social media as both a stripper and a massive, massive Titanic character, hence the boat. This saw her land roles in reality TV, where she continued to grow her brand and her image, and her unique blend of "I don't care what you think" and "don't say those mean things," all while being the funniest and largest character in any room. She has moved through so many media platforms, and each one, it has to be said, quite successfully. And now she's found her biggest success to date, her music. She didn't just wake up one day and decide to do this, by the way. She had actually gone to a specialist music school, and she was in all of the plays and all of the musicals. She loved to perform. So that's a little bit about Cardi B. Obviously, I've missed a lot out. I've skipped through some stuff for the sake of speed. The question here is, what is the appeal? Now, to understand that, what we have to do is actually go back to her worst time in the limelight. And that might sound a little counterintuitive, but stick with me on this. At most likely her lowest point, Cardi B was the subject of a large cultural and societal discussion when footage emerged of her admitting to drugging and stealing from men during her time as a stripper. This actually went away fairly quickly, all things considered, but you might remember it. Her response to this was to come out and say, "Yeah, I did that," but then go on to say that it was product of the circumstances she was under and she did what she had to do to survive. I'm in no way offering my support for the things that she did. I don't think you should drug and steal from anyone, either or. Just don't do that to anyone. But what I am saying is that this may have endeared a few people to her a little bit more. Now hear me out. They wouldn't be endeared to her more because she did those horrible things, but the real world is a dark place where dark things happen, and to some, it may have added to the perception of how real she is. There are also potentially quite a few people who related to the story, not necessarily to the same extremes, but simply the idea of being in a desperate situation and doing something you're really not proud of. Humans love flawed heroes, and we see this a lot in great storytelling today, because they're simply more relatable. Again, Music Science Man is not in defense of her actions. I'm 100% against them. Don't at me. The fact that she rode this wave,
you just drop in and just smack the lip,
and came out of the other side very, very quickly is testament to her charisma, her humour, her relatability, her marketability as well. I mean, she's become a self-perpetuating titan of every industry she's gone into. She just refuses to die. Now, to her haters or just the general outside perspective, she can come across as really insecure and perhaps overcompensating for that.
I gotta go use the bathroom, and by the way, I farted.
She's known to spend a lot of time hitting back at critics of her music, her looks, and just her in general. But again, to her fans, ultimately, she becomes more and more endearing every time she hits out at someone for something. Which is something she might have actually learned through her time on reality TV, where she became a favourite among viewers of the show and highly quotable for
reason.
What was the reason?
I just explained the reason.
What was the reason?
I don't need to explain myself to you. And
what was the reason?
And let's be fair, to a certain and very large demographic, watching TV shows that are essentially people shouting at each other and arguing for an hour is golden prime time television. We live in a 10-second society these days at best. Media is really quickly consumed and moved on from, so if you can be that much larger than life in that smaller space of time, you might just become a sensation. And she is so good at this, by the way.
What kind of word is that?
Is now a thing that I've seen and heard people do in real life. And I just did it too. For the first time. She's like the girl in school who was just so loud that she demanded attention and praise.
Today I'm wildin'! Today I'm bugging and thugging!
Except Cardi B has done this to seemingly the entire planet at this point. You only have to watch some of her interviews to see how young she comes across and how careless she is, or tries to be, about what people think of her. She is loud, she is crude, she makes a lot of jokes about genitals. But let's be honest, she isn't the first to do this. But she kind of is one of the first females in the music industry to do this, at least to this extreme. I mean, men have made careers in all media sectors out of just being the loudest person in the room, decency be damned, for decades. And you know what? Music needs controversial artists and characters. People do gravitate to them. And finally, here we actually are, her music. Now, Cardi B's sound is largely trap music with the occasional feature on an all-out pop record. She's done a couple of these. She also doesn't write her own songs, leading to more non-fans actively taking issue with her, rather than just not being impressed.
This is 1,000 monkeys working at 1,000 typewriters. Soon, they'll have written the greatest music known to man. Let's see. It was the best of It was the driest of You stupid monkey!
But let's keep things modern, because you know I'm down with the kids. Let's talk about WAP, her newest song. Now, I can't tell you what WAP stands for, but I can tell you the first word is wet, and let you do the mental arithmetic from there. Do I love it?
No.
But was I ever her target demographic? Of course not. Cardi B embodies confidence, fierceness, fire, and success in the face of adversity, and a lot of people really aspire to that. Herein lies the duality of Cardi B.
I push my fingers into my...
She's either an amazing success story and a great role model, or a cautionary tale and a dangerous influence. Really just depends on what side of the mountain you view that from. Because in a few ways, she's both of those things. Now, usually at this point in the video, I'd be doing an experiment on the artist's music, but I can't. It's not because I don't have the strength to, it's not because I don't know exactly what I would want to do, but because I don't really want to get copyright struck over a song with this name. Like, imagine that email. Your video has been removed because the original owner of WAP requested it. Like, damn. Anyway, jokes aside, I'll conclude with this. Cardi B is controversial. Cardi B is also not a gifted musician. Cardi B has done some terrible things, but you know what? It's likely that if you really think hard about it, and really allow yourself to, I'm sure you can think of a musician that you love that is, or was, and did all of those things too. Figures like this are in almost every genre. She's just kind of doing it the best right now. And that is the appeal. Goodbye, friends. Me and my real-life friends that are definitely real are gonna go away on our boat now and drink champagne with some dolphins and buy some Ferraris and listen to anything except WAP. Tickle that subscribe button!